In the premium custom and pro controller world, I love to see fresh faces and I love to see new rear input designs. Despite the fact that you and I are controller people, there's a company out there called The Controller People. We're going to be reviewing their Dualsense controller today. I've already said the word controllers several times, but this gamepad uses a truly unique rear input design. Generally, we see rear buttons or paddles, and Sony kind of broke the mold with those half domes on the edge. And then there's whatever the hell these are from EX Night. I mentioned those might look cool in a steampunk build or something. Other than that, those are kind of... Today we're going to be wrapping our cold gamer icicles, that's our fingers in case you didn't know, around the click sticks from the Controller People. That's their rear inputs. There are two of them, and they're very similar to the first party Dualsense Edge, except instead of metal, they're covered in rubber and they're a different shape. They're kind of long and, you know...
National Geographic. Long.
That was a bad reference. Let's get into the review.
This is your controller captain. We've reached 6,900 feet. Go ahead and start flicking the sticks and mollywopping the back paddles.
You don't like back paddles? How about those rear buttons? We've tested almost 100 custom and premium controllers and we're only at the beginning. You need a thumbstick guide or a tutorial on how to overclock your controller? Check out the controller playlist. Bing bong.
Controller captain out.
A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes. This controller was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it, so if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're going to hear about it. So these companies make better products over time.
I was a little concerned when I received the controller because the outer box is moderately damaged, not only on that branding sleeve, but also on the actual box itself. But luckily the controller is in mint condition. You've got these FPS assist rings, which are the exact equivalent of KontrolFreeks precision rings that I have reviewed on the channel. They look slightly different, but the concept is the same and the effect will be the same. Okay, controller's in a little sneeze guard. This flat matte black looks fantastic. The controller will have no thumbstick caps installed by default. That's how most controllers will ship, and then you pop on the caps. Clicky, I like that. Rubber grips, not a huge fan. These are the hard ones that HYPR, Cinch, and a couple of others use. I'm just not a huge fan, especially because the stock Dualsense has a fair amount of grip with that little bit of stippling, which is actually little PlayStation face buttons. This does have their clicky D-pad and face buttons, which feel, well, these are clicky joints, right? Let me get a stalker. Always keep one on deck right there. I don't know why I'm holding it like a Glock and trigger discipline there. Nope, those are stock membrane buttons. Your stock Sony Dualsense manual. This is just showing you that this controller did start life as a stock controller, then was disassembled, customized, and inspected by a person, and then this is what you get delivered. Okay. Included thumbstick caps is a pretty interesting story. It looks like we've got 4 shorties, which are the hybrids that Sony uses, but it has a different outer section. It's little lines instead of dots. Also, this doesn't provide the best grip in the center. The 2 taller sticks are pretty interesting. They do provide a little bit more grip. They're pretty small. I wish they were a little bit wider, a little bit larger, and these could definitely be higher. They should be shipping some lows, some mediums, and some highs, not 4 shorties and 2 mediums, 2 mid-rises over here. I will say these snap in with a different mechanism. Most of the ones that are held in with just friction, plastic snapping on, have little circles. These are squares. Doesn't really matter. I think they're going to work just the same, but worth noting it's a different shape. So you don't get any kind of a click to let you know that you snapped in. You just have to trust the controller gods that things are working out as they should. Can you fit in the hole, please? You're making me look silly in front of the internet. There we go. See what I mean? It just slides in there with a lot of friction, but doesn't snap in with a nice satisfying click or anything.
Unfortunately, immediately I was able to notice that these thumbstick caps suck. They have absolutely zero grip. They almost feel like they're plastic. They're not. They're rubber. They ain't no grip to these suckers. The best way to describe them is toyish. They seem like something you'd get on a controller from Alibaba or Wish, not a reputable premium or pro controller company, which this company is. I mean, these click sticks are pretty sick. Whatever's happening with these thumbstick caps, not so much. Future versions, something else, please. But as for KontrolFreeks compatibility, what can you do for these now? Remove your removable thumbstick caps before trying to install KontrolFreeks. It puts less tension on the thumbstick modules. Since these are potentiometer joints, could get stick drift. You don't want that. If that does happen, I do have a stick drift guide linked in the description below. Shameless little plug for another video. Okay, Nintendo Switch caps do fit nicely, tightly, hard to get off. Some Omnis for Xbox Series S and X and Xbox One. They use the same thumbstick caps. You could force them on, but it would damage those caps. Too tight. PlayStation 4 and 5 caps do work like a joy. I've got some white Galaxies on there. The Nintendo and PlayStation variants are very, very similar. The Xbox ones are 52s, not 54s. I believe that's millimeters when I say these numbers, but these fit and you're going to want to use them because again, those stock caps, they're just not the bee's knees. They really aren't.
And real quick, can we appreciate not the controller wall? We've seen that a million times, but some of these dank quips on the side. Their marketing's pretty hilarious. And as for the upgraded mechanical D-pad, I do like it more than the offering from Battle Beaver, which actually sinks in and has a weird mushy feeling to me, but less than the one from AIM, which is not very loud but has a nice tactile clicky feeling. and actually matches their face buttons. This has a very cheap hollow sound, but luckily they do feel pretty good, better than the Battle Beavers over here. As for the FPS rings, they do come in a set with soft, hard, and easy. It can be a little bit confusing that soft's over here and then easy's at the rightmost instead of a typical low, medium, and high. I do like the way that these middle gray ones look cosmetically. Easiest way to get these on and off is to pop off your removable thumbstick caps, put on the ones you want. I would only rock these on the right, considering that's for aiming. I don't really need increased thumbstick tension for walking, but if you're going to be using this for racing games, then that might actually be a good solution for a little more resistance. The easies are a very, very loose foam. These ones are a little bit more densely packed, as you can see. These are the softs and these are the hards over here. Test them out. I got the medium on the left and that hard on the right. Even the medium one is pretty darn hard to move, and the right one is literally an insane amount of resistance. These are actually pretty sweet, and I may do a direct comparison with the KontrolFreek precision rings in the near future. I'm assuming you can buy these independently without buying the controller.
As for triggers and bumpers from the controller people, there is no option for clickable mechanical bumpers, which is no big deal because I usually recommend that gamers opt out of that in the builder and spend their money elsewhere, considering the pull on the bumpers is already pretty damn short. As for triggers, $19 US will get you these clicky triggers, which I do like the way they feel. It's about a 1mm squeeze, actually probably less than that, probably about a 0.5 millimeter. It is instantaneous, very short, also very quiet as well. The only thing I don't like is the plastics they went with don't feel as good on the fingertips as the stock OEM Sony. Other than that, these feel phenomenal, and I would recommend for the $19. The controller people's click sticks are very similar to Sony's Dualsense Edge half domes, but they're rubber, not metal, and they click, as opposed to the Edge, which makes this noise, which isn't really a click, it's more of like a hollow thud or something. I have no complaints with the stalkers, the half domes. In fact, I praise them quite heavily in multiple videos on the Dualsense Edge. These are a little bit better, or they would be if they were removable. Well, I'd say these are a slight step up from the metal half domes in comfort. They actuate and work pretty much identically, and the fact that they can't be removed is a huge downside. What if you're playing a game that doesn't require rear inputs? Well, I guess no games require it, but you know. Them shooters.
Victory secure, good fighting.
Remapping the click sticks is pretty simple too. You're going to hold down a face button or D-pad that you want bound to one of the click sticks for 15 to 20 seconds. At least that's what's quoted on their website. We're going to hold down this right one and cross. Give her some time. You don't have to hang out with me. You can be back in a few seconds.
15 minutes later.
Perfect. So no kind of visual representation. You don't get a little flash with the lights or anything. That'd be awesome because you have no idea to stop holding it. I was there taking a nap, had a little snack. I was still holding the buttons. It only takes about 15 seconds, but you just have no idea when it's unbinding. 15 to 20 seconds for each click stick. Very simple. You now have this YouTube video to show you how to remap those click sticks, but me, I had to look it up on the website, scroll down to the FAQs or frequently asked questions, and then it's the first question. They must get it a lot, but the reason they're getting it so much is the only instruction manual that comes in the box is going to be the stalker. So maybe just put a little card, like even like a little business card kind of thing with 3 steps, or technically it's just like 1 step. Hey, hold the front, hold the tuchus as well. Just a little something to let people know how to bind those rear buttons. Alrighty, we're in a dark back alley known as Gamepad Tester. I'm going to do a little to and fro work on these thumbsticks. I do like what I see as they snap back to a resting value of 0.00392, a perfect resting value for potentiometer thumbsticks. These are pretty well calibrated modules. It has nothing to do with this company because this started as a stock Sony controller who's using potentiometer thumbsticks, but these are really good. And if you're on the PC side of the house, you can actually tighten these up even further by running a program like DS4 Windows in the background. Let's test the circularity, which is going to give us our thumbstick accuracy. Holy wow. Run a couple more just for safe measure, if you will. These are very good. As for stock input lag or delay, this controller is rocking a 3.8 millisecond input lag or delay on a 250 Hz stock clock. Very respectable, very standard for a PS5 Dualsense controller. However, it is susceptible to being overclocked luckily, and you can push it to under 1 millisecond while going wired, or around 1.95 seconds, so under 2 milliseconds, via Bluetooth with an overclock in DS4 and a motherboard that supports Bluetooth 5.0 or higher technologies. I should specify that when Dualsenses communicate with the PS5, they're using Bluetooth 5.1, and it's a pretty locked down protocol. You can't just use any generic Bluetooth controller that you dig up out of a drawer. It probably won't pair up. Once you receive your controller, if something's wrong with it, a component's painted a color that you didn't select in the builder, or it just doesn't meet your expectations, it doesn't meet your standards of quality, you've got 14 days to get your money back. Now, all controllers and accessories from this company do have a 90-day or 3-month warranty, which is freakishly short, but it's also directly on par with Battle Beaver and Evil. Not saying that's good. There's other competitors doing the same thing.
Thanks.
But for an additional fee, you can extend the warranty for a year. How much does that cost? I didn't see that option in the builder, but perhaps when you get to the shipping page, that's where you engage that for an additional fee to a year, which is decent, but still on a premium or pro controller that you're spending almost as much as the console on a year. Come on now. This warranty says nothing about stick drift, but it does of course mention that any cosmetic damage, scratches, dents, burns, bangs, tears, rips, you've done something stupid to it, is not going to be covered, obviously. Alrighty, we are on the website of thecontrollerpeople.com. I will say cosmetically it isn't the most pleasing right off Jump Street, but they have a 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot, and there's some reputable names on these placards, so I feel like I'm not going to get ripped off. That's a good sign. So instantly, just by looking at these pics from Instagram, I can tell that they are using extreme rate parts, or at least on the face plates, face buttons and D-pads as well. These are extreme rate parts, nothing wrong with that. There are several controller companies on the market that do this exact thing, but what they're making in-house that's truly unique and I haven't seen and isn't available from any other controller company is their rear input design with their click sticks. So yes, while some of these cosmetic modifications or tweaks might be shared with other companies, and when I say might, they definitely are. You ain't going jerry-rig these click sticks in your garage. Clicking on shop, all of these controllers have cosmetic modifications but no rear inputs, and I would like if there was a region-specific website for North America and then one for Europe, so the currency conversion was already done for you. AIM does this, where they have a European website and then a North American website, and just makes browsing a slicker experience. But since we're all about that bass, no treble, or all about that performance, not the cosmetic stuff, we're going to come over here to pro controllers. We want those professional features, those pro controller features, which are going to be the click stick, swappable thumbsticks, and digital triggers, which are a mouse-like mechanical switch, clicky, big bond drippy. And then of course rubberized grips. Fuck is all this shit. You've also got some acronyms that I don't know what they mean. IDP and IAS. We're gonna learn together. Now they have 3 levels of pro controllers: the Pro, Ultimate, and Custom. I'm gonna do a little currency conversion here and pop that up on screen for my North American audience. Excusez-moi. The currency, the amount of doubloons that we would be spending on one of these controllers. If you click down with the drop down, it is going to give you a breakout of all their features. They're listing removed vibration motors as a feature or pro, while I consider it not so much to be, at least on the PS5 platform. Other platforms, yeah, just pull those rumble force motors right out of there. This bad boy has those haptics though, so if you're going to be using it on a PS5 console, especially playing first party SIE games, you might want to leave those bad boys in. I have a whole video pretty much talking about that exact topic, but I want to get truly funky with this chicken, so we're going to build our own, and we're going to take a gander at their builder. Okay, it's loading the configurator. There we go, we're in. So automatically they're plugging a 10% off code with TCP10. I was going to give you a little extra sugar with my exclusive creator code, but you got TCP10 over here just already engaged. Free worldwide shipping, and it doesn't look like there's any minimum on that. 14-day quibble. I'm assuming that means shipping. It's time to customize. I'm going to move myself over to the top corner and get up out your way, see what we can do here. So right now, just for a stock Dualsense, it's 65 squigglies. So their builder isn't terrible to navigate. You do have this vertical bar, which does allow you to jump specifically to any of the components, and if you hover over them, it does give you a little preview of what you're looking at. I do like that. Some builders use a horizontal bar, some use vertical. As long as there's one there where I can quickly jump around, that's cool. Got your solid colors over here, you got your hydro dip graphics down here. So these right here, these 3 all the way over to right about here, these are all readily available on Amazon. However, I've never seen this graphic, these 2 graphics on any other builder. Stop flashing. I don't need an epileptic seizure. There we go. Little trim piece in there, get the touchpad. Yeah, dap me up. You can get that hydro dipped as well, which is really cool. A lot of builders just allow you to paint it one solid color. You can hydro dip a separate graphic to clash against the pattern of your grips. That's the one that actually goes with the pattern of the hydro dipping. Wowzers, that's I like it. Oop. Froze up and jittered on me a little bit. So the very last tab down here, 14, starts the performance modifications. 13 and down is all cosmetic or looks, appearance. So tons of options, as you can see. This thing is dog-ass ugly, hideous, just because I randomly threw colors on there that in no way blend together well. That's a fashion felony right there. Write them up. But let's see what they got on the performance side of the house. Remappable click sticks? Absolutely. That's 45 squigglies. And they're automatically going to be remappable. There's no static option, which I love to see. Digital triggers are 15 green squigs, and that's going to give you that mechanical mouse-like click on those triggers. In that video I mentioned earlier, I talked about why if you're playing PS5 games on that console, you might want to leave those regular adaptive triggers in place. But for those Bang Bang McShooties on PC, go ahead and make those clicky triggers. Okay, oh my golly jeepers. The swappable thumbstick caps are going to be called IAS, or Interchangeable Analog System. On this website, they made a silly little acronym for it. It's swappable thumbstick caps, which exist on damn near every Pro controller. Ooh, yes, I do want that there. Unfortunately, just like with Battle Beaver, if you do get the mechanical or clicky D-pad, there is only one cosmetic option. You can't custom paint that bad boy. It just automatically overwrites your selection. Remove the rumbles for $5. There you go. Pay to remove a feature from a stock controller if you'd like, to save a little bit of weight and a good amount of battery life. I'll give you that one. Same thing with the adaptive triggers over here. Super immersive in single player offline games. Get them the fuck out of here. Oh, this is an option I've never seen on any other builder. There is the Dexy, which is this dish D-pad. And then you can opt for a pair of dome thumbsticks. I can't get a visual representation of them. I'd like to see what they look like. We have loaded this controller with all the options in the builder, and it is this many monies. You can't see what I'm highlighting because I'm in the way. Damn. That's a lot of clams, a lot of ducats, a lot of sandbars, a lot of rupees, a lot of buffalo nickels. But that is a lot of controller. So what is the verdict of the controller people PS5 Dualsense? Is it worth a pickup at $317 fully loaded, or you could get one of those 3 tiers of pre-builts that I showed you earlier? Well, because those rear inputs, the click sticks, are so gosh darn similar to the half domes from the Dualsense Edge, and overall that is a much better Pro controller. It is cheaper. I throw around the term loosely at $200 US. The included thumbstick caps are substantially better, as they do have dome sticks that are freakishly grippy, as opposed to these caps, which are probably some of my least favorite that I've tested thus far. And by going with the first party Sony controller, you will have a 1-year warranty as opposed to that shorty that we covered during the warranty section. And along those lines, if you do ever develop stick drift, as they are potentiometer thumbstick modules, they are hot swappable as you buy replacements from PlayStation Direct or now even on Amazon. Plus, on top of that, with the Dualsense Edge, you still have the adaptive triggers and 3-way trigger stops and rubberized grips that are some of my favorites, as opposed to these rubberized grips, which aren't the best that I've tested. But this controller does do a few things that I really do like. First of all, the cosmetic options. There's quite a few of them, despite the fact that the majority of the catalog is extreme rate parts you can buy on Amazon and install yourself. I do genuinely like the click sticks because it's something new, something original, something that I haven't seen and tested, which is saying a lot because I've used pretty much every premium Pro custom controller on the market, and they're usually always using buttons, paddles, or some slight variation of the such. These are very similar to the half domes. I've said it a bajillion times, but they are longer and rubber coated. But this controller at its core gives me so many Dualsense Edge vibes. I also really like that D-pad dish. I wish that the model that I tested and reviewed here today had that so I could test that feature. It looks really neato Toledo, but at the end of the day, me personally, I would pick up a Dualsense Edge because of the vast similarities of these two controllers, and the differences amongst them go towards the Edge being a better controller. However, this is by no means a bad Pro controller. I do think the controller people are doing some things very nicely. I hope their website and builder gets a slight revision to become a little bit more cosmetically appealing over time. This is linked in the description below alongside a discount code, and I'll see you Stallions and Stallionettes tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at GamerHeaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of GamerHeaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting GamerHeaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.